As the United States slid into depression, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was one of many policies adopted by President Herbert Hoover. The sharp negative effects that followed came as a shock to the bill's sponsors.
It was passed towards the beginning of the Depression, and its proponents, Smoot-Hawley, said it would actually help mitigate unemployment and revive the economy. And of course, the economy just got much worse. Partly that is due to Smoot-Hawley itself. A lot of countries retaliated against the U.S. So that meant U.S. exports fell just as much as U.S. imports did. In fact, exports fell even faster than U.S. imports. So it really added to the contractionary impact on the U.S. And it bred a lot of ill will against the United States. Other countries resented the fact that here was the world's largest economy, a creditor country that was trying to get other countries to repay their debts, and yet we were stopping them from in terms of their ability to repay those debts by earning the dollars that they needed to pay back those debts. So other countries resented it. They struck back at the U.S., and the whole world trading system sort of collapsed, in part because of this act.
These outcomes came as no surprise to economists of the day.
1,000 economists wrote to President Herbert Hoover asking him to veto or not to sign the Smoot-Hawley legislation, and he turned them aside. Economists really did predict what would happen. Trade would collapse, there'd be increasing trade friction, other countries would respond and retaliate against U.S. exports. It wouldn't help out farmers at all, and yet it passed, the Depression got worse, and the reputation of Smoot-Hawley just went down the tubes from there.
Smoot-Hawley was just the beginning of a protectionist wave in Congress.
Most farmers were export-oriented. They sold their crops overseas rather than face a lot of import competition. And once Congress got going on this, they raised not only tariffs on agricultural goods, which really didn't help the farmers very much, but on industrial goods as well, and the protectionism just went amok in the U.S.
Since the predictable devastation that Smoot-Hawley brought, most presidents, Democrats and Republicans, have been largely free traders. Franklin Roosevelt inveighed against the act during his first presidential campaign.
Presidents have sort of looked not to any particular section of the country in terms of what their trade interests are, but try to figure out what is the national interest in terms of trade, and have supported trade liberalization, getting other countries to reduce their trade barriers as we reduce ours through the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade and what have you. And presidents from Democrats from Lyndon Johnson, Bill Clinton, to Republicans, Bush and Reagan, have always hearkened back to the days of Smoot-Hawley as a bad thing that Congress did in terms of trade policy, and that we're trying to warn people away from protectionism, the siren song of protectionism, which sort of seems there's this allure that it might help the economy, but really in practice makes things much worse.